Okay, so I was actually going to make a video about something else today, but I'm going to make it about this, and I'm just going to kind of shoot off the hip. So I often pay homage to radical feminism because it underlies so much of what gave gender critical feminism and talking points the platform, the language it needs to be a formidable opponent to trans rights activism. And I am so eternally grateful for that.
Women complain of being looked on and evaluated by sex and not ability. A new movement for women's liberation is launched, and once again protesters take to the street to support their demands for total freedom, economically, politically, socially. Congress responds, passing a constitutional amendment guaranteeing women equality of rights under the law. Within 2 years, it is ratified by 20 of the 38 states needed for adoption. Business and industry open new doors and provide.
I recognize that. And so that's why I will continue to use radical feminist colors, the purple, white, and green. I will continue to pay homage to it. But no, I don't consider myself a radical feminist. And I think that there are some very severe flaws in radical feminism. And I think that there are really big, gaping, wide open holes of women who are not covered by radical feminism and who are actively left out. And just like liberal feminism, and I've already talked about this before, it is mothers. And to a lesser extent, heterosexual women. But heterosexual women really, as a byproduct of radical feminists, disdain mothers. They hate mothers because mothers represent everything that radical feminists despise, which is women having any sort of symbiotic connectivity with men. The idea that we are in any way interdependent with men is obviously seen as weak, vulgar, anti-feminist. And so what happens is mothers are either thrown to the side or they are fed a rhetoric that is deeply damaging to them. The idea that a mother should not legally require a man to marry her and to engage in a contract with her to protect her assets, to protect her financially and legally is insane, and it's dangerous and it's irresponsible. And if you don't understand, most of the women who advocate for this are not mothers. They don't intend on being mothers, and the vast majority of them are same-sex attracted, okay? And that's fine. But many women, in fact, the vast majority of women are not same-sex attracted. The vast majority of women do end up becoming mothers, okay? So to just cut them out of feminism altogether is wrong. All right, so I posted a video, my video about why trans men need feminism.
Seeks to reason why it's dangerous that we undertake things like changing birth certificates, allowing changes to official state documents such as driver's license or passport.
So today I learned that in June 2021, the State Department made it so you no longer have to get a fucking physician's notice if you want to change your gender on your passport. And I've been sitting here with a fucking passport photo waiting for this stupid physician letter, and then I realized you don't even have to have it. So that's fantastic. Gonna go get my passport.
Not to mention how absolutely dangerous that is and how much this opens an avenue for sex trafficking and human trafficking if we can just change all identifying features of somebody's passport and birth certificate. But, self-ID laws.
And I did it in the bath. And I posted it in a gender critical, I posted it in one of the gender critical Facebook groups, and it became like a giant, shit show in the short time that it was up. And I had, some positive feedback. I had some, critical feedback, all of which was helpful about developing my message and my understanding and my delivery. But then there was a subset of women who were really harped on locked onto the fact that I did it in the bathtub. So it seems like there were two general stances or issues of me being in the bathtub. On the one hand, it was people who felt that all the additional sloshing and just extra stimuli was distracting. And that's a fair point. That's a stylistic, aesthetic point that takes away from my message. And I appreciate that. Thank you. Then there was a secondary camp that seemed to feel that I was sexualizing myself by existing in a bathtub and by having breasts. And by having breasts and sitting in a bathtub, I'm not doing women any favors because I have breasts. And I spoke while having them on my body. They were covered up because, God forbid we see breasts. Because as somebody said, and then there was the argument that men don't behave this way. And so because I'm not behaving how a man would act, I'm less credible. So if I adopt male behaviors and masculine behaviors, and maybe if I had a masculine body and no breasts, then I would be more credible.
Don't you cry, baby, even if it's small and tiny. Don't you cry, baby, even if it's small as shit. Because I have chips and fries. They all never taste so good without you. Not enough for two, but I will make fire.
And so my response was that I have squamous cell carcinoma and I have 4 young children.
So, according to Karen Trumage, excellent name by the way, if I'm a mother who's busy and who's also fighting a chronic illness, I should just stay out of the conversation. Is that right, Karen Trumage? Is that what I should do? Should I just go back to the kitchen and go take care of the kids? Okay, Karen. No, I'm gonna get it done when I can get it done and when I want to get it done and how I want to get it done, okay?
Okay, I am in a lot of pain, a lot. So I'm soaking in hot water a lot. I also have pretty limited free time. So, like any mother, full-time mother knows that we multitask like a mother, which means when we're on the toilet, we're answering emails. We're doing calls when we're dropping kids off to sports and to school. I'm doing that all the time. I'm literally filming while I'm dropping things off. I'm running from here and there. I watch gender critical content when I'm cooking dinner. Okay, I know that many of you really are like so disgusted by, the fact that being a mother does actually push us towards these gender roles. Since entering into gender critical circles and interacting with radical feminists, I get it. You guys hate mothers. I get it. You disdain heterosexual women for the proximity that it puts us, that our motherhood and our sexual attraction puts us in with men who you see is your ultimate oppressor. I guess I get it. I get it. It's the whole idea where it's like the Black love movement. Don't sleep with your oppressor, right? And historically, the radical feminist movement is a lesbian movement. It is a movement of same-sex attracted women who were not interested in motherhood, who saw motherhood as this inescapable prison, marriage to a man as a prison. A lot of these women were not able to be open, and then the ones who were, it was a genuinely radical thing. They wanted to depart from all of these expected heterosexual norms. But I get it. You hate motherhood. You hate women who choose to be mothers. You hate women who enjoy motherhood. You hate women who stay at home. You hate women who make themselves financially dependent on men. You hate women who are emotionally intertwined with men. You hate women who are codependent and cohabitating with men. That part, that much could not possibly be more clear. Okay? I get it. I have never been policed by any group more than I am being policed by radical feminists. I'm putting my reputation, my life, my time on the line to speak up for gender critical ideas. I defend lesbians constantly. Okay? And I don't need to qualify this, but like I sleep with women, or I have slept with women, and I've had relationships with women. So don't even take a tra-la-la-la-la-la-la stance and go and accuse me of homophobia. Just don't even do it, okay? Just don't even do it. Okay? I'm the mother to sons, and I'm sure that that's another thing that disgusts you. And maybe that's another reason why you hate mothers. Because you see the men who have harmed you, and you know that behind every disgusting man is the woman who birthed him. And that disgusts you, and you hate it, and it is so clear when I interact with y'all. So that's why, until further notice, I cannot call myself a radical feminist, okay? I'm gender critical, and I will put mothers and young female children above anything. Okay, because before I was gender critical, I was a midwife and I was a birth doula. And before I was any of those, I was a mother. And I'm not sorry. I breastfed, I baby wore, I stayed at home, I prioritized my motherhood above anything else. And I fucking would do it again. And I'm not sorry. Mothers are the most undersupported, underappreciated, undercared about, under fought for group in this entire country, in this entire world. So I get policed by radical feminists because, okay, so the first policing comment I ever had was on my second video about why trans women or trans-identified males were not centered during Me Too. And my point was that rape and sexual assault is not as serious, is not, the impacts of rape and sexual assault are not as serious for males than they are as females, period. Okay, and there's a biological and a psychological basis for that. The first comment that I got was from a radical feminist who told me to put some clothes on. Let's take a look at what I was wearing.
There's no genocide against trans women. Your boyfriends are killing you the way our fucking boyfriends have been killing us and beating the shit out of us since time immemorial.
Okay, so my cleavage was visible. I'm sorry, I didn't know that breasts were a primary sexual characteristic. I didn't know that I have sex with my breasts. Today, I was told that my video, Radical Feminism, I was accused of trying to attract men and being sexy while I was doing the video. Again, I was filming from here up, and I guess part of the shape of my breasts were exposed. You guys are very concerned about whether or not my breasts are visible in any way, or the shape of my breasts are visible. Well, let me help you out with something, okay? Breasts are not inherently sexual. Breasts are perhaps the most wholesome part of the human female body. They are mammary glands which are used to produce milk, to nourish a nursling. Babies depend on it. Breast milk is the most perfect food on earth. There is nothing better for the human baby. The invention of artificial milks have caused countless babies across the world to die, as we've had poisoning in certain batches and we've gotten the formula wrong over time. Women in other parts of the country, or women around the world, will over dilute their artificial milks and babies die. And when women have a difficult time properly bonding with their babies, they suffer from postpartum depression far more often than had they had the chance to breastfeed and be primed with the prolactin and the oxytocin that your brain releases each and every time your suckling nurses. This helps protect against depression, anxiety disorders, so it becomes a cascade of disconnection and pain and suffering for the mothers. But hey, as long as you don't get to see an adult female breast, right? I cannot tell you how many times as a New York Department of Health certified breastfeeding educator, I dealt with young mothers and old mothers and mothers all across the board who expressed extreme anxiety about accidentally exposing their breast while nursing. So much so that they did one of two things. Either they refused to leave the house and would just stay inside and nurse, or they would abandon nursing altogether, which is expensive, often difficult to wake up in the middle of the night rather than just pull your baby next to you and nurse, have to go downstairs, make a bottle, the baby's now up and freaking out. Add more burden to the mother, right? Do you know how many times that even me early on in my nursing journey, I would sit and my baby would be screaming and crying and clearly very hungry. And I would be so nervous that somebody would see my breast and I would accidentally expose myself to the point where I would be crying, trying to find a place to sit and nurse where nobody could see me. And often there aren't these sort of places for nursing mothers. Did you know that at Sesame Place out in Pennsylvania, they have that sort of place? And you know what it is? It's a tin box, a room that is so hot and stuffy with metal seats for mothers to sit in a windowless, air conditioning-less room and nurse their babies so that nobody has to be exposed to the vulgarity of the sexual breast. Do you not understand that breasts were sexualized as men's playthings? Breasts, which have always been one of the most wholesome parts of the female body, was determined that men said, hey, we want them, they're sexual, they're our sexual playthings. Put them away and keep them away from the babies. Do you know how many mothers I've supported whose husbands didn't support them breastfeeding because they said it was almost akin to molestation of their baby? I've literally had fathers say that they didn't want their partners breastfeeding because they feel like it sexualizes the baby and that breasts are for sex and sex alone. Do you also know that I've supported mothers who had partners who had children with other women, previous relationships? I've had the ex-wife come and demand that the new wife not breastfeed her newborn baby because she didn't want their older son to see her breasts and be turned on. She was teaching her son that breasts are the exclusive domain of men and they are for men's sexual playthings. Well, let me tell you something right now. Breasts are one of the most wholesome parts of a female body. And when we make it so uncomfortable for women to expose their breasts and they're so terrified of a nip slip or any part of the breast or shape of their breast being seen, we harm mothers. We make it so traumatic, so stressful for them to have to breastfeed when they should just be able to comfortably and normally and naturally sit and breastfeed their child. But no, they're worried about you and women like you who say that we lose our credibility when we exist with breasts. I literally was sitting in a video just existing with breasts that just existed on my body, and I was told that I was trying to sexualize myself and that I was trying to get a man. First of all, I have a partner. That is so disrespectful. Saying that I'm trying to fish for a man while talking about trans men and feminist issues, my breasts were barely in the frame, and even if they were, who the fuck cares? Because it has nothing to do with anything. You fake pseudo feminists, you are part of the problem. I cannot move, breathe, think, act, or speak without some sort of so-called fake ass radical feminist telling me that I'm not being presentable and I'm destroying my credibility. Fuck off. Eat my ass and lick my clit, because I am going to keep talking when I want to, how I want to, and where I want to, and my titties are going to be here all the time.